Hello, my name is Debbie Reynolds. They call me the Data Diva. Today I want to talk about after the Privacy Shield and what that may look like in the future. As all of us know by now, the Privacy Shield framework between the EU and the US was invalidated in June, and as a result, many companies have been scrambling to find alternative ways to be able to transfer data to the US if needed for business purposes. So many companies are either waiting for more guidance and doing what they have been doing in the past. Some of them are stopping data transfers. A lot of people have moved over to using standard contract clauses, but that is a tougher way to be able to transfer data, especially for companies that are doing these data transfers or need to do them for business purposes on a regular, continued basis. Because the Privacy Shield invalidation between the US and the EU and subsequently the US-Swiss Privacy Shield invalidation, there is going to be a push possibly in 2021 to try to get some other agreement that can replace these adequacy agreements between the US and different countries. What it looks like, a way that this could work possibly is that perhaps there needs to be two different agreements. So perhaps there should be an agreement between the US and the EU and the US and Switzerland related to surveillance. So most countries do surveillance in some way, shape, or form. So being able to sort of address that in some type of framework or treaty between those countries as it relates to how this data gets transferred over, and possibly doing it in a way that that the countries have agreement, and then they can contact any businesses that need to be able to transfer data, as opposed to currently in some situations, the company is contacted by the government, like with a data request or a subpoena or something. They turn over the data, and then the government is supposed to do some type of negotiation or use maybe even a ready-made treaty or agreement that's already in place to try to negotiate that a smoother transfer of data. One of the big issues with the Privacy Shield invalidation, or the Privacy Shield as it relates to indiscriminate data collection and surveillance, is that the companies that are doing these data transfers don't have any impact or can't make any changes to how the government operates or how the governing laws of the countries can be changed. And in the same way, the GDPR does not address surveillance in that law. So I think being able to separate the surveillance issues between the countries, and also coming up with an agreement about things that businesses can do within their own power to make sure that these data transfers are being done in the best way possible, and make sure that we're upholding, as businesses, our end of the bargain. I think that's probably the best that we can hope for in terms of what these agreements may look like in the future. One other thing that could possibly happen is that some of these countries already have mutual legal assistance treaties in place. So that may be a situation where there needs to be some augmentation or some beefing up of those agreements, so that it sort of keeps businesses out of the middle of those data transfers, and the agreement is made on a country by country basis. So it remains to be seen what will happen with the Privacy Shield and the adequacy decisions around the world, especially as they relate to the U.S. and data moving from other countries to the U.S. But I'm hopeful that there'll be some action taken in 2021 related to these, because these are very vital agreements to people needing to do business between the U.S. and the EU. That's it. Thank you.